As in the modern age, teachers are classroom managers, and if they communicate well, then their caring, sharing, the way they are delivering, the strategies they are adopting, children take to it. And children become interested, and children start loving the teacher. Right?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Definitely, ma'am.
Right, ma'am.
So,
Yes.
today, in this workshop, we are going to define communication. Then what? I will give you daily live examples. Somebody saying something? I'll give you live examples as to when we are communicating, either whether we are miscommunicating
क्लास चल रहा है
or communicating. Then also, what are the workplace etiquettes? What are the etiquettes in the workplace we should adopt, which either make us click or do not make us click? So, in my language,
अभी 2 मिनट रुक जा पियो
I request you to mute yourselves. Please mute yourselves. Thank you. So I'm a healer as well, and there is some noise in the background, please. All right. So in healing language, we call it vibrations. In normal language, we call it charisma or an attraction. So many a times when we meet people, we really are attracted to them like a magnet. And many a times we are repulsed. So it is all about body etiquettes, which is correlated to the topic of communication today. It is how we are presenting ourselves. It is also called social grace. And that goes a long way in the 21st century as to how we attract or distract or rather repulse people. And if our attraction, if our presentation, if the way we talk is presentable, people start liking us, children start liking us, our heads start liking us, the management starts liking us, and we are successful as a team player. You agree? Do you agree to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So now,
Yes,
would
ma'am.
you
Yeah,
please
yes, right,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely.
would you tell me what is communication? Anybody can tell? One only.
Yes, ma'am. कर रहे थे
What is communication? Anybody can tell?
To attract the students and other people towards themselves.
Very good. So in simple language, how we talk? How we talk is communication. And when we are talking, what we are conveying, whether we are conveying logically, crisply, the other person is understanding, or we are miscommunicating. Other person is not understanding. So communication is all about what we are saying to someone who is a receiver or a perceiver and how that person is perceiving us, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is an integral part of teaching, and I am interacting with you. I am not giving you instructions. This is an interactive workshop where all of us will participate and understand each other. Okay. So now communication is interpretation of whatever we are saying. So communication in the modern language, in the language of skills, includes speaking skills, listening skills, persuading skills, probing skills, and conflict handling skills. Now, why are all these skills important in communication? Why probing skill? Why conflict handling skill? So when a teacher or a principal or a leader is presenting herself in any given school, so just merely speaking will not do. We need to speak with attachment. We need to also listen. If we are not good listeners, then we will never ever be successful leaders or classroom teachers or coordinators, right? So we need to listen to the other person. Persuasion. Now, there are many a times when we are heading a team, or the coordinators have a team under them, or the class teacher has children under them. Now she needs to persuade many a times. And one teacher tell me one situation where persuasion will be required in a classroom. Any teacher can tell me where
Ma'am, please repeat the question, ma'am.
where do we need to persuade as a classroom teacher? Where do we need to persuade?
When we are explaining a topic, ma'am.
Very right. And why do we need to probe? Do we need to probe in a team or a classroom? As a principal, as a coordinator, as a teacher, do we need to probe?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when do we need to probe?
We need to explain the kids, and with using prop, the kids are understand the thing very easily, and they connect very easily.
So probing here means we are trying to find out whether our team member, be it a teacher or a student, has understood or not. When we are probing, we are asking questions, we are trying to ascertain that the other person we are talking to has understood or not. So that is probing. And conflict handling. Do we get conflict handling situations in a team?
Yes, ma'am. Obviously, in a class, there are many conflict between student teacher, between student. Several conflicts are there.
Very good. So conflict can be three types. One is conflict with the management. The management says something and the team does not like it. Second is a conflict, mainly I have seen either with the principal or the coordinator, that the principal or the coordinator is saying something and may not be necessarily after that probing or helping or scaffolding the teacher or the team member in order to understand whether the person has understood what the team member is saying. The coordinator is saying, okay, you go and make this presentation or give me a lesson plan. But the coordinator or the principal may not have explained it well, and the team, the colleague may not have understood. And then we blame the person that, look, she's such a poor teacher, she's a non-cooperative teacher, she does not bring the work on time. Same happens in class as well, that we have told the children, okay, you will do this project, you will make a project, you will give me a presentation on the project, you are going to present your homework to me. And the teacher may not have understood that 50% of the children have not understood because the teacher never probed or never did a recap at the end of the lesson. And those 50% children, when they fail to do the work or to bring the work, or maybe they do not even show an interest in the work, then the teacher would blame the children that, look, the child is below average, the child is least communicative, the child does not do the homework on time. So, anything you want to say to me on this? Okay. So many a times as a team leader, as a group principal or a principal, I've noticed that many a times the team does not understand or the class does not understand, and we are blaming each other. And that is where the conflict starts, rather than understanding whether the team under us, be it children, be it teachers, have really understood or not. So communication is a process. So even if I talk about principals or coordinators, how do they communicate? Now, supposing it is the beginning of the session, a lot of plans have to be made, a lot of things to do with closing the session and opening the session. Now, I've noticed many a times the principals or the leaders would not have planned it and would be doing things in a hurry. So now they are delivering, they are wanting the team to deliver, to close the session, to open the session. But they have they really sat with the team? Have they really opened crisp and clear communication with the team? Have they really bothered to see whether the team members are getting enough time to do that? Or have they really bothered to do the follow-up of the process? And then in the end, what happens? Everything goes hodgepodge. Same goes in the class. The session has started. The teacher needs to welcome the children. The teacher needs to give the syllabus in the first day. In the first week of class teachership, the teacher needs to break the ice with the children, lay down the rules of the classroom, lay down the classroom language. But has the team leader or the coordinator facilitated the teachers to do that? Have the teachers really prepared for all that? Or teachers have just barged into the classroom with 40 children, not knowing their names, not having anything up their sleeves to make the children interested. So it is all about how we deliver, how we formulate the process, how we plan the process, then how we send that communication either verbally or in written or through activities that the receiver feels pleased with our communication, is able to grasp that communication. Do you agree or disagree?
Agreed, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Any
Strongly
Yes, ma'am.
agree.
Agree,
with
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
any
Agree, ma'am.
example from your real
Agree,
life
ma'am.
where things were communicated well? One example. Any one example from your organization?
Ma'am, as a teacher, we face some problem like that. I am a teacher, especially in English medium school. But the students who come in this school, they are basically from Bengali and Hindi background, their mother tongue. So we explain in English, but we can't reach them properly, ma'am. They actually there is a communication gap, ma'am. They can't understand English actually better. This type
Sir,
of
I will
problem
give you
we
an
feel
example. I'll give you an
feel
example.
in our. Yes, ma'am. Pardon.
I'll give you an example. I was an advisor to Excelsior American School, Gurugram, and we had Russian children, Japanese children coming there, and they wouldn't know English as well. So many a times we had to gesticulate. We had to give them a bridge course before they joined the class on at least basics. Then the teacher, one or two teachers of mine was so good in gesticulation, or if you are in a school where any teacher knows Bengali or Hindi, the teacher and interprets initially when the bridge course is going on. We also put student buddies who know Hindi, Bengali students to be with them, so that initially the child starts grasping, and then slowly we give them remedials in schools. We tell the principal that, okay, take out a remedial period where at least the child can understand the basics. We also take help of parents, telling them to put them in English, spoken English or communication classes. So these are the various ways which we have tackled. Anybody else have any other idea?
Thank you, ma'am.
Now coming to miscommunication. Can anybody give me an example where things were miscommunicated and things went wrong? Anybody out of 150 participants?
Example of miscommunication, ma'am.
Yes. Real life, in your daily life. Okay, I'll come to it later in my presentation. So now communication, see now, as Sir was saying just now about Bengali and Hindi, 7% communication verbal is effective. 7%. And 38% non-verbal, 55% body language is very effective. So many a times, even if the person does not understand the language, with our body language, with our non-verbal aspects, even with signs, placards and signs, where we can have some Hindi letters or Bengali letters and English letters. Generally, whenever I am training the teachers or the principals, I tell them to have a sign language as well in class. So in this manner, non-verbal communication also helps. In case of animals, if you see, they don't know how to talk, but our animal, pet animal, or even street animals, they understand everything by our body language, by our smiles, or by our anger, by our whatever. Supposing we are angry at a street dog and we are showing a stone or we are using angry words, the animal will understand. So we are human beings, and human beings, even a child who does not speak, the child who is just born, a child who has not even started speaking, understands the language of the mother, the family. So non-verbal communication is very, very impactful. Our body language, our gestures, how we are speaking, how we are acting, whether we are making a person feel welcome, unwelcome. I'll tell you a recent example. I took my daughter to admission in one school. So there one leader was sitting and he was very, very strict. So he kept saying, smile, smile, in a very angry note. So the child got frightened and would not smile. So sometimes when we are speaking and we are, body language is negative and we are trying to speak positive. So the receiver would be the person who is listening, would either receive positively or negatively depending on the body language. May not be depending on the words we are speaking. So make a note, this is very, very important. So sometimes there is a malfunction communication error. The leader, the coordinator, or the teacher is maybe saying things in very angry note or very negative kind of body language and wanting positive reactions either from the principal or the coordinator is wanting from the teacher and many a times from the parents as well. We are feeling that, okay, no, parents are a big burden. This parent is very irritating, very probing, and we are trying to smile and we are trying to convey, but the parent is not really getting it. So that is called a functional communication error, where we are trying to communicate and we are thinking we are positive, but actually the body language is so negative that yes. Okay. So now when we are involving in communication, especially with parents or students or even with teachers as principals and coordinators, we should always remind. It should not be that once we have said something and we assume that the person will remember. The parent also, we have sent a holiday list. We have sent yearly syllabus and schedules. And now the parent is asking before the exam, the syllabus again, the holiday before the summer vacation. And the teacher or the principal will angrily say, देखो तो, सारा तो सब कुछ भेजा था. We have sent everything. Still the parent is going on asking. We need to take it in our stride. that the child or the parent or the coordinator may be equally busy. So we should send reminder text. As a principal, when we are taking work from the team, we should also remind them and follow up as a coordinator as well. Instead of saying, see, that coordinator is so bad, she does not even listen. See, I gave her the work, she did not bring it. But did you remind? Did you make her comfortable? Did you ask her what is your schedule, dear? Are you so busy whether you will be able to give me back the work? If you're giving homework to the children and every teacher is giving 1 hour homework to every subject to every child, and then expecting the child to come back all tired to the school with so much homework, is the school ascertaining days that okay, today English, EVS, maths will be given, next day Hindi or GK or value education or science will be given? So if we have ascertained the days, yes, maths and English should be given every day, the compulsory subjects. Ascertaining the days, the child's homework will also be balanced. There will be no error and the child will be able to do it well. And we are sending monthly team emails to the parents, to everybody, so that everything is clear, whatever is happening. We are having volunteer opportunities. We are giving teachers, co-teachers, students to do presentations, to volunteer in beautifying the school, to volunteer in helping the teacher. In 21st century, even class leaders are given new names. For example, cooperative lily. So this cooperative lily would be a leader who will cooperate with everybody and help them if any child in the class is having a problem. A buddy leader would be a buddy to 2-3 children. A buddy leader may be good in maths, then he can be a maths buddy to 2-3 weak children. A line leader who helps the teacher formulate lines, moving in and out of the classes. So inside the classroom also, when we are doing classroom management, it's a whole workshop in itself, how we are assigning duties, creating skills in the children to be leaders, and how we are directing them to be good leaders and monitors. In this manner, the teacher gets a lot of help in the class. Then celebrating report cards, celebrating in the manner that star child of the class, the child is doing so well. Okay, this child is a very good motivator in the class. Another child is a very good speaker in the class. Another child is a good presenter in the class. So we identify the skills of each child, making each child feel very, very special. Same goes with the team, that this teacher is very good in anchoring. Another teacher is good in theater. Another teacher is good in storytelling. Another teacher is very, very adept in, as a team leader, in training teachers. So we praise the teachers. We give them work according to the skill. The coordinator or the principal will never have a dearth of non-cooperation. If we are identifying, the principal will not be doing all the work all the time and be overburdened, but she would be taking positive help of her teachers. The teacher would be taking positive help of her children. We can have our homework club. Many a times the parents are so busy, they do not give enough time to the child to do the homework. So in school itself, we have a homework club, we have a zero period, we have a remedial period, we have constant parental conferences, we have check-in and check-out forms. Believe me, I'm giving you everything live. Whatever I have done in my life, whatever I have practiced in my life, whatever I had trained the top managements on, the principals on, the classroom teachers, I am telling you those things which have been done very successfully. Anybody can add to these ideas? Can anybody add?
Ma'am, we can make a meeting between the homework club members of homework club, we can join together once a week or every after 15 days to share our performance.
Excellent. So the homework club very successfully works, and then teachers will not complain that child is not doing the work. One teacher is assigned per month or maybe for 6 months to monitor the club, and children lead the club. The senior children, the senior leaders of the school, the captain, vice captain, uh, college captain, or your house captain, or any other captain who's assigned the work would lead it. The leaders keep changing and they are mentors to the children, and it helps the school. Parents are happy and teachers are very happy. So now whenever there is a parental conference, I have seen in many of my advisory roles, as a principal, I ascertain all these things, that there is a parental meeting the next day. If the leader does not even call a meeting of the teachers, give directions to the teachers how to deal with the parents, how to welcome the parents. Yes, sir. So, if the coordinator is ascertaining, or the principal is ascertaining that there are parents who may be a little finicky, there are parents who are very positive, how to deal with the parents, not to call parents who have a little temper, irritating, in the same slot as other parents. If we are ascertaining small things and giving directions to the teachers, also in many schools now the students are leading the PTMs as well. The students are welcoming the parents in international schools. They are also showcasing to the parents what they are doing in class, how they are performing, how they are being treated in class. And such meetings are very successful because 50% students are leading and 50 teachers are leading. So secondly, never turn down a parent meeting if the parent frequently wants to call you. In many schools, we have a help support number. The admission team only during the session time would take calls from the parents who are having some problem or the other. Will communicate to the coordinator that, okay, this parent called up, they're having a problem. The coordinator will communicate to the teacher. The teacher will solve the problem and then tell the admission team member that call the parent and say your problem is solved. So if we have this kind of a system in the school, neither will the teacher be troubled. No admission team which is sitting idle anyhow because session time admission is not happening, or maybe a coordinator is doing the work, and the school parent communication becomes very healthy in this manner. Then a team leader, a coordinator, or the principal should know the strength and weakness of her team. In the same way, a teacher should know the strength and weakness of her children. In such scenarios where the teacher recognizes the strengths and weaknesses, instead of criticizing that she is a useless teacher or this is a useless child, the child does not understand. If you know the strengths and the weakness can easily be converted into a strength. For example, if you are giving group project to certain children and you are identifying this child is good in art, so this child will integrate art in the project. Another child is good in IT, so this child will make a presentation. Yes. Another child is good in writing the project. A fourth child is good in presenting the project. So if you tell each team member that this is your skill and this is the manner you will present the project, it is very important in CBSE now to do presentation. Your class will become skilled. Next time you tell the child who's not good in IT that, okay, take the help of the child who's good in IT. Now you do the IT work. Another child who was not doing the artwork, you tell, okay, you do the artwork. In this manner, all the children will be skilled. Similarly, if the coordinator is helping the teachers as such, all the teachers will be skilled in their respective work. And so, Next session, you'll have a better team. Anybody saying something?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Very good evening.
Ma'am, actually,
Sir,
I
can
would
I see
like to
you?
say something
Can I see
that,
you?
okay, yes, ma'am, definitely. Mm, yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Ma'am, I would like to say that to boost the child's confidence, that is very important. Suppose not everyone is gifted as in the education, but in the other fields they are God gifted maybe. So in the during the PTM, we can give a positive aspect and also not negative directly, but we can share one positive aspect of the child.
Very correct. So, sir, how we do now in according to Indian education policy, this is being encouraged. So, what we
Mhm.
say, even when we are writing comment or presenting to the parent, we say that your child is very good in reading, he's excellent in maths, but perhaps he needs a little more motivation in boosting his confidence. So then we would also in class we would say, see, sir, we are giving him some speaking role plays. We are encouraging him to read. We are encouraging him to, when we are having assembly, we encourage the child to perhaps first present a role play, then perhaps anchor. So at home also you would need to do these activities. So the parent is also happy. Sorry. The child's confidence also is boosted. And at the end of the year, we can see a vast improvement in the child with the help of parent also, like you correctly said. Now, team teacher email examples. Now, sometimes when the teachers are giving email to parents, the language of communication is not crisp and clear. And so sometimes the teacher in a hurry would make grammatical errors or would not pay attention to what the language is. Your child is very misbehaved in class, like sir was saying just now, using a negative language. That your child hit the one child in the class and something. Now, when that email goes to the parent, perhaps the parent does not take it well, but because many parents do not even understand the folly of the child, and they feel teacher is being very, very critical. So instead of presenting the email in this form, perhaps without writing the incident, we can always say, respected sir, I would like to meet with you and interact with you. The matter is a little urgent. Kindly guide me whether you would be comfortable talking on phone or would you like to visit us? And generally in schools, we give open days. I encourage the schools to have one open day per week so that the parent can walk in with the problem. So if we are not having an open day, we can ask the time and date, call the parent respectfully in front of the coordinator, talk to the parent and perhaps explain that this is what the child is doing and the consequences. Perhaps you can also say that the child who was beaten, the parents came, the child is very upset, the child doesn't want to come to school. So when we are explaining things like that, parents take it properly. But if we are writing rude emails, parents are rather negative. So one example, teacher A. Good afternoon. Today I received this behavior report from subject teacher. Class teacher's writing. This resulted in a lot of offense. The child, your child comes to the class very, very loudly. And the students today were taking the exam. I had already explained not to be loud, but your child was disturbing the whole class. I was giving exam instructions and the child was doing knock, knock, knock. And he knocked off the Chromebooks we give during exams in international. And this is the email. Address the situation at home. Now, in this message, the language used is not age appropriate. Vocabulary is a little difficult, like Chrome, parent may not be understanding. There is lack of prior knowledge because the teacher got this info from a subject teacher. And maybe sometimes in schools like sir was saying Hindi, Bengali or Russian students are there, parent does not understand. So the parent's reaction is that teacher is quacking, quack, quack, quack. That is the parent's reaction. So when we are giving an email, choice of words or language has to be very, very careful. Content should be very clear. In that content, there was lack of clarity, accent, voice, pitch, bias. If we are sending the message on phone, should not be negative. If we are sending on email, naturally accent and pitch will not come in, but the language we are using is very, very important. So the teacher should have written that, dear parent, today was an important day. Examination was going on. We had already instructed the child to be silent. Perhaps because your ward may be having some problem, there was a lot of disturbance from his side. I would like to meet you and address the issue. Then perhaps the parent would have got the message better. Then the coordinator or whatever the school system is could have spoken on phone, and parent could have either come and matter could have been resolved or resolved on the phone. So communication skills mainly means positive attitude, how expressive we are, how we are speaking, writing, reading, listening, and how receptive we are. Even in a classroom, many a times the children would tell me, ma'am does not listen. When we are trying to, get our problem solved, ma'am will say, just sit down. You are asking too many times. I've already explained 2-3 times. The child exactly comes and tells the principal in this language. Generally, I'm a friendly principal and I teach also at the senior level, so children come and tell me. So if the teacher could have said, I understand that the period is less, bell may have rung, the teacher has to complete the syllabus. So the teacher could have said that, dear, you can come to me on so-and-so, in so-and-so period, or maybe after school. I will give you 10-15 minutes. I'll try to resolve your issue. Or just be patient. As of now, I'm busy. So it is same communication, but it is on how we presented that communication to the child. So listening, reading, speaking, and writing. So listening gets 40%. Then speaking 35%. And rest is 9% and 16%. So please understand reading and writing. So please understand how we listen, how we speak, how we present ourselves is important anywhere and everywhere, even at home, even in relationships, with our children, with our husband-wife communication, with our friends, in the organization, and everywhere. Communication is indeed very important. So parent-teacher responses to teacher email. Now, one parent wrote a very rude email. When the teacher wrote that email, which I just read out to you, that the child was creating a disturbance, the parent's response was, Mr. Wilson, please do not notify me anymore when you give punishment or any kind of detention to my child. You do not like him. You are biased. You want the parent to take action every time. You never respect my child. You are highly disrespectful and I do not like your attitude. Now, why such a response came? Such a response came because this particular parent was a divorcee. By nature, he was an angry person. And when he got an email, which he really did not welcome and thought the teacher was biased, instead, if the teacher could have called the parent, spoken, explained properly, the parent would have got a better perception of the same situation. Another parent's response is, I'm so sorry. I left over the weekend, I'm relocating somewhere. Maybe the child is disturbed because relocation is going on. Hence, the behavior in class is not very good. I apologize. I will look into it. See, two different parents, two different responses. So we as teachers, we as leaders, we as coordinators have to take all this in our stride. So another parent would say, my child is a little hyperactive. The child gets distracted very easily. While we try to help him at home, please try to look into the situation. So the teacher can send the child to the counselor, and teacher can write that the child was distractive. He is getting counseling. We are mentoring him. Now the board is showing improvement. So in this manner, a parent will also be happy. Correct? Anything else? Any example you want to give? So positive interaction and involvement with parents goes a long way in a healthy school climate. Positive interaction with the principal, from top management to principal. Positive interaction of the principal to the teachers, to the coordinators, goes a long way in building healthy climate of the school. And that climate rubs on to the children also. Many a times, the teacher would get a scolding from the principal, and the teacher would go irritated in the class, or would be discussing the same thing with another colleague. The children would be hearing, and then it would create a very, very unhealthy climate. So, students know when the teachers are not on the same page. Students know also when teachers are not preparing. These days, Google Baba or Google Guru is telling everything to the child. Many a times the child is more well versed than the teacher. The teacher has to be smarter than the child. The teacher has to be very, very well versed and keep lots of activities up her sleeve. It's not easy to be a 21st century teacher or a coordinator or a principal. A principal has to be smarter than her team. The coordinator has to be smarter than the teachers. The teachers also understand in what waters, whether thick or thin waters, the leader is actually. And then they react accordingly. So it's very, very important to be very well versed. Knowledge keeps changing every day. It's a global village now, the world. We need to keep abreast with whatever changes are coming in. Now, whenever you are in the classroom, it is not only about classroom behavior, it is hallway behavior, it is lunch and cafeteria behavior and rules, bathroom and locker policy rules. All this should be well known not only to the children, to the support staff as well, to the teachers as well, what language they should be. Some teachers use abusive language in the corridors, sports teachers. Some children use abusive language. We need to have corridor hallway monitors, teachers on duty. We need to, in the first month of the new session, keep an eye on all this. Make leaders who are looking into discipline. So in this manner, the communication slowly keeps improving. Children may have come from other schools, other environments. They may not be knowing the proper decorum or code of behavior. Always remember, miscommunication starts at the top. Okay. So first, maybe sometimes the top management, then the principal, then the coordinator, teacher, then the child. It is not the child, even at home. The parent to the child. It is not the child who learns to miscommunicate suddenly from peers. So, classroom management is very important. How children make friends. Knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the teachers as a coordinator, of the children as a teacher, is a very integral part of classroom management. Any questions?
Ma'am, I would like to question. Uh, Actually, in a school, there are students who are coming from villages also. And in 6 hours of school, we are teaching them mannerism and we are teaching them etiquettes, how to speak. And after they are returning, they are getting again the same kind of situation. And so, what's the basic solution of this problem?
So then, as I advise the top managements, it is home and school relationship. So generally these days I've taken out a monthly bulletin wherein whatever we are teaching the child and whatever we are communicating, whatever mannerisms we are telling the child, I can start with basics, thank you, sorry, the magic words, everything. We have frequent coffee meets and orientations with the parents.
Okay.
Initially, before the session starts, in international, we call it coffee meet. Some schools call it orientation, some call it PTMs. It is very important first to educate the parent in the PTM time. Secondly, uh, all the children would not be doing that. So those children who are miscommunicating using foul language should be segregated. Parents should be getting counseling as well. Home atmosphere, if possible, one visit, maybe not frequent visits, in order to ascertain what's happening only of some children, or handing over the child to the counselor, the school counselor, which is very, very important. Whenever the child is using foul language or something, these are various ways which have worked. Identifying at home who's the guardian of the child. Sometimes mother is not educated, father is not educated. Maybe the tutor is the guardian of the child is handed to the tutor, or communicating with the tutor. That is why in 21st century we have a parent support cell. If the teacher does not have time to do all that, either the coordinator is given less teaching periods to indulge in all this, or a school counselor is kept where the school counselor is in constant touch. Every class, 5, 6 children's names are given to the counselor, the vice principal, and sometimes, in my case, for special needs, for severe cases like teenagers, even drug addicts, I have done personal counseling as well. So a lot of effort is required if genuinely we want to change.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any other question? Now we come to workplace etiquettes. Now, why are etiquettes important in the workplace? Are etiquettes important in the workplace? Are they important?
Definitely, ma'am. It's very
Yes,
important.
ma'am. Definitely.
Why?
Ma'am,
Yes,
to get
ma'am.
the good evening, to get the good communication purpose, these are the most important.
Very
Good
right, sir.
communication. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Then we are how the principal is communicating to the teachers, to the coordinators, how the teachers are communicating. Like sometimes teachers use very sarcastic language. Sometimes the presentation, the way they dress up, they want the children to be neat and clean. In many schools, I have seen many times now schools emphasize even support staff should be wearing waistcoats, their hair should be tied. Similarly, it applies to the teachers. Children like beauty. That is why you see now that beautiful infrastructures are coming up. Crores and crores are being spent on infrastructure. Walls are colorful. Teachers need to be well groomed as well. Children like beauty in teachers as well. They'll come and hug you. I had an instance when I became a new principal of a school. This child came and hugged me and said, "Oh, ma'am, my mom will give you a tiara." So, wow, you're looking so nice. So, how we present ourselves also goes a long way in winning the hearts of people around us. So, when we are working, we are giving our time and we are getting paid for our time. We are giving 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours of our time. Now, when we are putting in efforts, are we empowered? Is the management giving us empowerment to justify those efforts? Are we are using our creativity in the workplace? Are we getting recognized for that? We are productive? Are we increasing our qualifications? Things are changing, times are changing. New education policy has come in. Bal Vatika has come in. A lot of presentations are going on by the government of experiential hands-on learning, learning without burden, learning with joy, uh, various strategies and activities right from foundation stage till senior secondary stage, foundational activities, senior secondary activities, how to present our lectures with the help of PowerPoints, technology, links, activities. Are we changing ourselves? Are we taking trainings again in return of that? Loyalty. Are we loyal in the workplace? That loyalty shows. The principal will recognize us. The coordinators will recognize us. Are we taking responsibility? Are we accepting change? Or we are saying, no, 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 I don't know technology. I don't know how to make a PPT. I'm very poor in that. How do I go about it? When the new education policy itself is saying trainings can be easily taken. And I advise the schools that please appoint your IT teacher to train the teachers. Any 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours in a week, they can go in the free periods or on Saturdays. Those teachers who don't know technology can be helped. So lots of solutions are there. If we are broad-minded, we want to develop, and then we get promotions, we are recognized, our status increases, salary increases, and salary increment is very important because we need to give quality time, quality life to our children, to our family. So, in order to communicate, one, we need to present ourselves very well. Now, sometimes I go to schools as an advisor or mentor, and I would say, okay, now please tell me how you are going to welcome the children in our class. Please bring your plan. Now, in some schools, teachers would be very meticulous. They will type the thing, they will bring the presentation. And in some schools, the teacher would bring a rough diary in which rough notes are written and they will give it to me. So I, as an administrator, would feel that, see, the work etiquettes are not good. They do not present properly to the principal. How they will present to the children? So children, they will show the rough notes or write very badly on the blackboard. And children will come and say, ma'am, तो ऐसे लिखती हैं कि कुछ समझ ही नहीं आता है. So now presentation doesn't only mean your appearance. Presentation also means how you are presenting your work. If you're prepared, see, if I go to a class, I need my PPT in place, I need my video in place, my lecture in place, and any other activity which I'm preparing, I'll prepare, even though I'm teaching since past 25 years. Why? Because the child understands if the teacher is not prepared. So the presentation in the class of a teacher, the etiquettes of the teacher in the class, etiquettes of the teacher with the colleagues, what language she is using. School may be English medium, the teacher is going on talking in Bengali to her fellow colleagues loudly and then telling the children speak in English only. The teacher may be using foul language. The teacher may be criticizing the principal or the coordinator and children may be listening. So these are unhealthy workplace etiquettes. So when the team, the students speak the same language, the principal, the coordinator speaks the same mission and vision of the top management, then only healthy etiquettes, healthy communication starts. Then we get increased job satisfaction, we get appreciation, we get motivation. Now the schools have also started star teacher of the school, star teacher of the month, star child of the class. So we feel so nice when on the display board we see our photo as a star teacher. Children appreciate us. Children see that teachers are less absent. That is also a workplace etiquette. Anytime, every time we tell the principal, tomorrow I'm going to be absent, even though there is an exam, I have some emergency. Even without preparing the principal, that tomorrow is an invigilation duty. I need to be present. If there is something very urgent, I can also take a half day if it is not an emergency. That is called poor workplace etiquettes. Frequent absenteeism, coming late to school all the time, going late to the class all the time. That is poor etiquettes of teaching and workplace. Then we will not be appreciated. Every time the principal will check us, coordinator will check us, and we'll be unhappy. So things to avoid, you should clean up after making a mess. Some teachers, art and craft teachers, would do art and craft in class. Entire class would be in a mess. Children would be throwing the rubbish. Teacher would be throwing. Staff room, they are making charts. They are throwing the rubbish. It is a mess. That is poor workplace etiquette. Do not show up late. Do not be lazy. Do your work on time. Do your corrections on time. When the teacher does not give the corrections on time, when children do not, teachers not checking properly, children are not receiving the notebooks on time, that is poor workplace etiquette. Then good workplace etiquettes in a good organization, good school will give equal opportunity to all. No favoritism. Favoritism is poor workplace etiquettes, which we should avoid. Dress code should be nice and proper. If it is international, then Western. If it is Indian, then either salwar suit or sari or whatever your dress code is, you should be neat and clean. Hair should be properly combed. Many a times, it is seen in teacher's hair is open and teacher is in the pre-primary giving tiffin to the child, helping the child to eat, and the hair is falling in the tiffin. I'm giving you live examples of what I have seen. So it is always advisable to tie your hair to see that your hair does not hamper your workplace etiquettes. So this is what body language is very important. If your body language is sweet, calm, peaceful, if it is patient, you will be a good leader as well as a good classroom manager. If the body language is always hurry, furry, scurry, the children would never be able to respect, neither the team would be able to respect. That's all for today. I invite questions from your end.